Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that took hold of people's hearts and continues to stay relevant even in 2022. With the upcoming release of its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, this is as good a time as any to talk about one of the topics it explored well: identity. Even though it's not the only game to do so, it does an excellent job of introducing and addressing ideas of identity formation, fluidity, rigidity, and how we define our purpose. This game is 8 years old at this point, so it should be safe to talk about. But just in case there are those, like myself, who neglected this game until now, there will be some spoilers. While this video is going to focus mainly on Aloy's development as the main character, I'm going to have to delve into a lot of the main plot points and some secondary characters, so not much is off the table. Seriously, if you care about being spoiled, pause this video now, and I'll see you again in a few days after you're done. Okay, here we go. At the start of the game, we meet Rost and Aloy, a man with a child who he quickly shares is not his own. He tells her that it's her name day, and that her mother would usually be the one to give her a name, but the duty now falls to him. He takes her to the sacred location where he expects he will shout her name to their goddess alone, only to meet one of the leaders of the tribe, High Matriarch Tirsa. Usually, this ritual would involve more members, including the other matriarchs, but Rost and Aloy are outcasts, forbidden from speaking to anyone in the tribe. Rost is shocked to see Tirsa and expects to have his efforts blocked because of their laws, but learns that she is actually there to support him, not stop him, and his demeanor shifts from uncertainty to gratitude. He performs the rite and is promptly berated by another leader, Lansra, for stepping out of line by trying to bless an allegedly cursed child. In this introductory exchange, we, as the audience, are taught a few things rather quickly. First, outcasts are, as their name suggests, ostracized from the tribe in all meanings of the word. Second, this is a matriarchal society where mothers are given great importance. And third, Aloy has no mother in the tribe, and therefore has no place within it as far as the members are concerned. In a society where your tribe is everything, where your mother is the most important person in your life, Aloy has neither from the moment of her birth. So to tackle at least the first part of this world's pillars of identity, we have to ask the question, who are we dealing with? Introducing the Nora, a group who, like many groups we can see in the world today, are highly rooted in their traditions and beliefs. They are so grounded in these frameworks that they easily accept and act upon those beliefs by shunning people who do not fit into their framework. Lansra is quick to brand Aloy as a curse upon their tribe due to her beliefs, and shows disgust at the notion of giving love to her, even as an infant, not because Aloy had done anything wrong, but because her existence itself was in direct violation of those beliefs. She disregards Aloy as having any beneficial purpose as a reflection of her birth, rather than any of her own efforts or even misdeeds. Many of the Nora are guilty of this to some extent, though Lansra gives us an easy target to be angry with because she presents her hatred so overtly. Her purpose, as she might see it, is to protect herself and the tribe from any threat, no matter how it presents itself. As a foil to such strong negativity, we see Tirsa follow a very similar core belief system as the rest of the Nora while utilizing a much more positive framework to view Aloy from. She recognizes and respects the expectations of the tribe, and is nearly as cemented in her beliefs as Lansra, but displays enough mental flexibility that she is willing to help Aloy rather than hold her back. It's not as if she's immune to her own preconceived notions. Though she doesn't view Aloy as a curse, she instead expects Aloy to be a blessing upon the Nora. Initially, she seems to merely adhere to her beliefs, rather than be rigidly dictated by them like other members of the tribe. However, after being declared a seeker, Aloy shares information that shakes her worldview.
Why are the ruins of the metal world forbidden?
They are blighted places, Aloy. Dark and wicked, like the children of metal who built them. When they rebelled and tried to murder All Mother, her wrath leveled their cities, but could not cleanse their sin. Their ancient spite haunts those ruins, ready to ensnare anyone foolish enough to enter them.
But I've been in a ruin. It looked a lot like the inside of Allmother.
That cannot be so.
It is.
Then, this is something beyond my understanding. I will trust you to reveal the truth.
Tirsa could have rejected that information, but instead accepted that she does not have the answers, and left it to Aloy to help provide new information, to possibly even redefine what her purpose is in this tribe. Rost provides a healthy balance of being driven by his own purpose, and also being a part of a larger whole. As the story unfolds, we learn that Rost was a warrior of the Nora, a brave, and yet a wife and daughter of his own. He found his purpose and identity in living as a member of the tribe and adhering to their laws to a rather zealous degree. When he loses his family to an attack from another tribe, his worldview is shattered, pushing him to seek vengeance at the cost of his membership as one of the Nora. He chooses to take on the role of a Death Seeker, someone who gives up their spiritual self and knows that, should they survive their task, will never be allowed back home. He massacres every single person involved in the murder of his family, and resigns himself to death from his wounds, only to be saved and granted the unexpected gift of staying in the sacred lands of the Nora as an outcast. To others, being declared an outcast is a terrible punishment, but to him, this is an opportunity to live the rest of his life in the land he loves, even if he can no longer be Nora. When he is given the task of taking care of Aloy, he receives a second wind, a chance to give life after being robbed of all that made him who he was. He steps beyond his given purpose and chooses to love her as a father, despite her troubled past, or perhaps because of his own. Finally, we get to Aloy, our main girl, the big protag herself. For her part, she starts off life more fluid in her identity as an outcast, while still hoping to be a member of the tribe. She tries to fit in as a child and is shunned for it by other members because of their own rigid frameworks. Thanks, in part, to how she is treated by the Nora, Aloy establishes her own beliefs that the Nora are not worth her time. She instead clings to Rost as her safe space, and is only interested in joining the tribe with the promise of doing so helping her provide answers as to who she is. By this point, she is selfish as a result of necessity. She values strength and independence as her sole means of finding out who she is and what her purpose is. Her personal trauma throughout her life leads to her cutting out anyone other than Rost, and those she deems necessary to propel herself towards her goals. In other words, her community is nearly as insular as the Nora. Though Rost tries to instill a sense of community and solidarity with her soon-to-be tribal peers, she pushes back, scarred by all the ways that they have hurt her. Just as soon as she becomes a member of the Nora, Aloy loses Rost and is given a new purpose: to find the people who tried to kill her. She leaves her lands for the first time in her life, emboldened by yet another role someone else has her play. Aloy, seeker for the Nora, a woman seeking answers to the so-called corruption and justice for the dead members of the tribe, including the man who showed her love when few would. Aloy's identity was that of an outcast for so long that, despite taking on a title that more or less makes her a representative of the Nora, she says,
I understand. My whole life I lived as an outcast from the Nora. They would have been the first to say I wasn't one of them. Yet as soon as I leave the sacred lands, everyone calls me Aloy of the Nora. It should be Aloy despite the Nora.
I didn't know. I'll remember that.
She refuses to be just one of the tribe after years of discrimination and hate, and holds on to the identity that she was brought up with, an outcast. Though she is willing to fight for the Nora, she still does not see herself as one of them. She is stuck in her belief that her identity is set in stone. Regardless of whether others accept her, she has no intention of fully becoming just another one of the tribe. With considerable effort and world roaming, Aloy learns that she was created by the AI Gaia in the image of her own creator, Elizabeth Sobek, to save the world. Talk about having big shoes to fill. She finally has an answer and is met with a sudden revelation of purpose. but not one that she picked for herself, and she feels justifiably overwhelmed. To further complicate matters for her, she is abruptly accepted by the tribe, including Lansra, as their savior, all because she fits their pre-existing framework of being chosen by their goddess. She becomes frustrated with their shift in acceptance from branding her a curse to their anointed.
The goddess spoke to you?
She did.
What did she say?
That I was born to lift a curse, to kill a metal demon.
How, Aloy? How?
I don't know yet. But she told me where to go to find out.
And you will do this?
It was her wish. What she made me for. Yes, I will do it. I'll try anyway.
All praise Aloy, anointed of the Nora! All praise Aloy,
No,
anointed
stop
of the
this.
Nora!
Up!
All praise Aloy, anointed of the Nora!
First you shun me, now this? I will not be worshipped. I'm not your anointed. I don't belong to you. There's a whole world beyond your borders, whole tribes of people just as good as you. And it is all in danger. It's a world worth fighting for.
Aloy ultimately chooses to take on the role that Gaia made her for, and sets out to stop the Big Bad and his evil henchmen. Now, even though she accepts this role, it's different from just playing the part of the Nora's Anointed that she rejected just moments ago. She made this choice, of her own volition, because of her own values and beliefs. Aloy's purpose isn't solely derived from other people looking to her to be the hero, but her own personal drive from the time she spent outside of her own lands, in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar people. She determines that the people she met in the world is worth saving because of those experiences. Sure, she has expectations that she is going to meet, but she's not doing it just to make others happy. To borrow a phrase that she uses, she's doing it despite how others may feel. And that's the lesson, the hero's journey. Talking from personal experience, we often grow up being told what it means to be a member of our families, our tribes, and how we have to conduct ourselves to fit in and be accepted. Many of us may not do so well at that. We might not feel like we fully belong to the template that is set before us, and that's okay. Aloy is not a perfect character, not by a long shot, and that's what makes her such an excellent avatar for the player. We're plagued by imperfections, inconsistencies, and the dirtiness that is being human. We all carry prejudice, and are the Lansras and Tirsas of our lives, and the lives of those we may not even think about. At some point, we likely made someone feel terribly alone, and someone else feel fully validated, maybe in the same moment, all while trying to figure out who we are. Right now, there may be some of you who are watching who feel fully committed to being a certain kind of person, with a concrete path set before you and feel confident in your identity. But for every one of you, there are also those who are entirely unsure of what they're going to do, even just today, and may feel that their purpose is best determined by someone else. For those feeling a bit lost, that is an uncomfortable place to be, and it may not make you feel any better, but you have to know it's okay. No matter how old you are, or where you think you should be, we're never done discovering ourselves. Tirsa has her worldview shaken, and she's willing to roll with it. Ross thinks that his life is over after losing his family, and is granted a second chance at protecting the person he loves, both when they're well into their, experienced ages. Like Aloy, we can start out uncertain of who we are, gathering bits and pieces of it over time. We can dedicate ourselves to our goals, have them shattered or accomplished, and then pick up from there to take yet another step forward. We aren't born with our identities, just parts of them, and we make ourselves as we go. accepting and rejecting the insight and advice of the people we meet. And the fact of the matter is, we're not always going to be right, even when it comes to ourselves. We will get things wrong. We will find that what used to be true is no longer true, and we determine that for ourselves as we gain experience and reflect on our choices. We can lean on others without letting them define us, and in doing so, we build trust and confidence to say who we are and what we are meant to do. Incidentally, like Aloy, we might end up doing a lot of what others expect of us while pursuing our own goals, and that's fine too. It's not about pushing back against everyone. It's how and who we choose to listen to as we make our way. So that's Horizon Zero Dawn, a story about starting again and making something of ourselves, about having a destiny set before us and taking agency for what happens next. Hopefully this video shed some new insights or was just helpful. If it was, please consider subscribing to the channel and keep an eye out for my next upload as I look into some other topics of mental health and some titles that I feel have done an admirable job of destigmatizing the fight for mental and emotional well-being. Until next time, this is the Therapeutic Moogle. Thanks for watching.